Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my line mate Matt with me. And today we're going to talk about a little bit of Blackhawks news. The Stanley Cup Finals is going on. It's been great, and some NHL news. So to start it out, Patrick Kane is out for 4 to 6 months, which is, I guess this isn't really Blackhawks news anymore, but just wanted to bring it up now. Might as well. That Kane,
out of respect.
Yeah, out of respect. We mentioned this prior that that Kane has been hurt. We've noticed it, been noticeable. He didn't have a jump in his step that he has, and he's got to have a pretty big surgery on his hip. Actually, he already completed the surgery, out 4 to 6 months.
Pretty
Not
sneaky.
sure. Yeah, I mean, he knew it needed to be done. So, curious where he goes, man. I'm curious, like, what's going to happen with him. I put my money on Buffalo, probably. The Rangers said they wanted to try and work it out, but I don't see how. I could see him going for, $5 million, 5.75 million, maybe go to Buffalo. You mentioned to me that you think the ship has sailed for the Blackhawks, which would be sad because I'd rather see him retire in a Hawks jersey, but that might not be in the cards. I think that it'd be worth it for him, man, to be honest with you. I know Davidson's trying to move on from this era, but getting him to come in, kind of mentor Bedard a little bit, because he is, Kane is a superstar, and, kind of, I don't know, take him under his wing a little bit would be a good idea. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I don't understand the people that are saying, like, the ship has sailed, and then the dude just buys a house in Lake Forest.
Yeah.
The Hawks are, we are below the cap basement.
I think we're 20 million below the cap basement right now.
That means we need to spend money to be able to play.
Right.
And the Hawks spend money. The worst guy since Rocky's taken over and, Bill's died, they've spent to the cap, always. And right now it's not necessary when you're rebuilding a team to be paying top guys big bucks and bring in free agents and stuff. But
right.
Actually, if you really sit down and think about it, signing Kane to like a 3-year deal at like $6-7 million, that'll help you get over the cap. Connor Bedard is going to be here for 3 seasons, making $950,000. Kevin Korchinski, $950,000. Nolan Allen, $950,000. And this is a guy that knows the city. He probably deserves a C.
Yeah.
And you can get over the cap basement. But then you hear reports Davidson wants to move on, like you said. I don't know. I don't think I would be saying that if I were him, especially if you got to spend $20 million.
I think he's forcing it. The getting the fan base to move on. I think that he's forcing it, and it's not happening in a natural way.
If anything, Connor Bedard and Patrick Kane on the same team. Come on, man. That's like handing the torch off. Like, it's awesome. It would make great stories and great, just hockey talk, and it's awesome. I do think that if he heals up right and he's saying he wants to play, if the Hawks, if it's not going to happen, I could see Buffalo. I've always said Buffalo is the top destination if he wants to get paid. In some term, I think Buffalo is probably the team that's closest to, out of all the teams probably want to make a run for him. I think that Buffalo would probably be the most sense.
Right.
Play with Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, all those guys. And it's his hometown. So usually guys like to go home before they play, like all the guys do. And Mike Modano went back to Detroit, and, it's painful to see. But that would be my prediction if it's not with the Blackhawks. And the Rangers talk, come on, man. They had to move heaven and earth just to get him on that team. I don't see it happening.
Yeah. One rumor that I did hear was that the Hawks might be, because they're so low below the cap basement, 20 million below, that they might be willing to take on a couple bad contracts. One of them would be Elvis Merzlikins from Columbus. So they're talking about maybe there being a possible deal with Columbus because they're trying to get rid of this contract, and the Hawks, they need to take on some money.
I like him. I think he's a very good goalie. I don't know why they would want to take on any like bad contracts unless they're like 2 seasons. If there's a guy with 5 years or something, that's just going to come back and bite you.
Right.
But I don't know if you heard about the blockbuster trade proposal to send Mitch Marner to Chicago, rumor?
No, tell me about
it. So there was actually, I don't know the site, but there was a couple reports, because obviously the Austin Matthews reports died right away because people laughed, but this week it was Mitch Marner. And Mitch Marner would be sent to the Blackhawks for 2 seasons he's got 2 years left on his deal. Kevin Korchinski would go the other way. Nolan Allen would go the other way. And the Tampa first-round draft pick would go to Toronto. So how about we just be patient for 2 seasons and then sign Mitch Marner without giving up 2 really solid future first-pairing defensive guys?
Yeah, so, and the pitch can be, hey, Connor Bedard's got 2 50-goal seasons. Do you want to come by?
Yeah, you want to pass this kid the puck, because he's pretty much scoring on every shot he takes. So this was obviously made by a Toronto guy, probably a Toronto media dude, trying to fix his team's cap hell problem.
Yeah,
but right now, if that were to ever happen, like I said with Matthews, if you brought Matthews over right now with this young group coming up, with like a new core coming up, that's like the Jonathan Tavares trade.
Right.
You're just paying this guy all that money just because his name, and you got the top dog at the free agency or whatever, the big trade name, and now you're stuck. Now you're going to have to get rid of one of your core guys. And that's what's exactly happening in Toronto right now. So I don't like it one bit. It would be cool, in NHL, whatever year we're in, 23, PlayStation mode, but no, not real life.
Oh my gosh. All right, so moving on, the Cup final, man, finally started. Florida versus the Golden Knights. I was really excited for this. I can't believe how much time they allowed them to take off, though. That's the problem that I had. Yeah, I think Florida was off for like 19 days or something like that. And usually the team that goes the longest gets penalized because, their series went longer. But they ended up giving them practically a week off. Everyone came in rested, it seemed like, and Vegas won the game 5-2. It was a lot closer of a game than that, though.
Oh, sure, definitely, yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk, essentially went on doing his thing at the end of the game, getting kicked out. What do you think going into game 2? What kind of changes do you think need to be made?
Tkachuk around and you find out.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to send a message to the Golden Knights saying, hey, we're not going to get pushed around. You guys got this game. We're moving on. Don't even think about getting comfortable because we're going to make your life a living hell. I think that's what Tkachuk did. And honestly, I love it. I love that. You're going to lose, stir it up a little bit, get in their heads. And that's exactly what he did. And he's a leader, man. He's a leader for this team. But I do think their real leader, their captain-wearing guy, I think Barkov really netes to elevate his game, dude. Yeah. He needs to get going like at Tkachuk level because this guy is very underrated. For the last 5 years, he's one of the most underrated guys in the league. Yeah. But he's got to show people why now because everybody's watching him. The hockey world is watching. He needs to take over a game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's just a quiet leader or something like that, but it just seems that I don't say he needs to go out there and mix it up, but he needs to start doing something,
Well, dude, he lost a sidekick, and I think that was tough for him.
Okay.
But with Jonathan Huberdeau,
yeah,
and those guys were tight. They were like Kane and Taves,
Yeah.
Those were the two guys for many years. And I think it kind of hurt him a little bit, but, obviously the trade worked out for him. They sent Tkachuk his way. And you're in the Stanley Cup final. And it's the first time your franchise has been in the final since what was that, 97 or 95 or whatever against Colorado?
It's been a
long time. And you got a chance to win.
Right.
That's how good it is. I mean, it's not like, when Van Beesbrook was the goalie facing Waugh. Everybody knew you had no chance in hell.
Right.
But you guys have a chance, so... and Bobrovsky's playing good too. And, I've been tough on him for a while. Like, hey, $10 million for what? Sitting on the bench?
Right.
Getting passed up by these young kids. But he's been playing really well. Even in the loss, he was a good, big factor in that game. So game 2, I got a prediction. I think Florida's going to come out pissed off, and they're going to win like a tight, maybe 4-3 game.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I've got them winning the next game too. I would like to see them win. I don't think that this is going to be like a four game blowout. I think it might go 6 or 7 games, but we could also attribute to some rust. They've been out for, they've been. Sure. They've been practicing, but they've been a lot of time off. And the playoffs are, they're rough. They hit a lot of posts. So it's not like they're not getting pucks on net. They are. And I think that they're a strong team. So I expect to win probably another 5-goal affair, maybe a 3-2 win, Florida. But there's going to be some scoring. And I like that, man. When you've got a Stanley Cup final game and it's like 2-1, it's like, okay, I like a little bit more scoring in my games. Sure. I guess I should say.
What's cool about the series? The winner of the series is going to win the first ever Stanley Cup for their franchise. Yeah, that's pretty cool because it's usually cool. You got a team. Hey, they won this is their 7th. This is their 10th, or Montreal. This is their 7,000th.
Right.
So either way, I think it's good for the game. You get a new Stanley Cup champion. You know what, man? We don't talk about Bruce Cassidy enough, the head coach of Vegas. Right. I mean, what a steal of a freaking signing.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked out great, obviously. And I think Boston might be shaking their head a little bit because this guy, I know he hasn't won the Cup, but he's been to the final 2 years now. He's won with Boston. He lost to St. Louis. Now this year, he is just a good coach. I was really hoping the Hawks would, make a run at this guy. But, clearly he's a coach that is a kind of like a guy sent in to fix a problem.
Sure.
You got all the pieces already and you just got to piece it together, right? He's that kind of coach. He might not be a good rebuild guy, but I'm nothing against Richardson. I love him. I think the Hawks made a great pick with him.
Yeah, me too.
But Cassidy, man, I'm a huge fan of this coach, man. Absolutely great coach. Well deserving of a Jack Adams for sure.
In all honesty, man, it's like you kind of need like a Torts to come in and build a team for like 3 years and then bring in a Bruce Cassidy to kind of get them over the top.
Well, yeah, if Torts can't get it done, it's like, okay, we're giving you the pieces and you're still losing. And then we'll bring in a guy like, Cassidy or even Pete DeBoer. I'm not a fan of him, but he for some reason, teams win with him. I mean, he just can't get it done either.
Yeah, can't go all the way.
No. Like even a Coach Q, this guy clearly knows how to win, and he gets dropped in a good situation too. Don't forget, this Florida team has a lot to do with Coach Q because him and Dale absolutely had a say in this team because they brought in guys, they signed guys, drafted guys, and for sure those two guys had a part in this run for sure.
Do you? I'm curious, kind of getting off topic a little bit. Do you think that Brind'Amour, when is he going to be on the hot seat in Carolina? Because there comes to a point where you have to say, this isn't working. This is the same result that we get all the time. We have the same players doing the same thing. At what point do they mix it up, say like Florida did?
So I think Brind'Amour bought himself some time making it to the East Finals.
Sure.
Because that's something they haven't done in a while. And, they're the second round busters, we've been calling them. But I think I don't think it's the coaching. I think he's a great coach. They play for him. They absolutely rally around him and they play for him. They love playing for him. I think they need to move on from their goalies because they're signing these guys that, Anderson's a great goalie. He is, but he is hurt at the wrong times. Antti Raanta, another good goalie, cheaper too, still plays great, gets hurt in a game 5, like a very important game.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a true number one. I don't think Brind'Amour's had a true number one goalie. That's why I always say on Twitter, you need to go out and trade for Connor Hellebuck. He does not want to be in Winnipeg for a rebuild or starting over or whatever the hell they're doing. This guy is a win-now goalie. He's been a Vezina finalist a lot. I think he's won a couple Vezinas. And he's playing on a very boring team that no one cares but Winnipeg fans. Bring this guy in and you'll have a very scary team. That's just my
watch there like he gets hurt in like the first round or something.
The one Hawks game I went to last year, it was versus the Jets. Connor Hellebuck was a stud, man. It was actually awesome watching this guy. Super athletic goalie, just solid, man. He's calm, solid, and that's something the Hurricanes need. I don't think it's coaching. They could score. You know, they just got beat by a better Florida team. They got swept, but like it was a close like sweep, you know what I mean? It was like a 2-1 game, 3-2 game, 1-0 game. They weren't getting blown out. They were just missing that save, I think.
Right.
You know, that big save. And that's what I would do if I forget the name of the GM, but I know he's been around for a while. But I would definitely make a run for Connor Hellebuck and get Rod a true number one goalie.
Okay. Yeah, just curious what you thought about that. But before we go any further, I got to let everybody know we got a message from our sponsor at DraftKings. Odds on the next game are plus 120 for Florida and a minus 140 for Vegas. I think that Florida is going to come out with a blood in their eyes in a way. They're going to be blood hungry. So you want to light the lamp for the hockey playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can have a $5 bet and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. So what you need is to download this DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code THPN, that's code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.m.a.org. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms. Now, when you're using those bonus bets, sometimes they have new ones every day. Be sure to use those up because they can bring you back some big winnings. Now back to the podcast. The New Jersey Devils, the Philadelphia Flyers, the New York Rangers, and New York Islanders will participate in the 2024 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey on February 17th through 18th. Man, that was a mouthful, dude. You know, these East Coast teams, man, you know, it's kind of like they're all kind of cramped together in a way, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure about why. Philly? Really? That's what you want? Marketing the game?
Right.
Okay. I mean, I know everybody hates the Blackhawks right now, but wouldn't you rather watch a kid like Bedard on the big screen?
Or Fantilli?
Yeah. I'm not sure about Philly, but I think it would be better if the Rangers were playing the Devils.
Yeah.
I understand the Battle in New York thing, but the Islanders are, you know, the Nashville Predators of the East. And no, thank you. I don't want to watch paint dry.
I would like to see, you know, some of these matchups, maybe even New York and Florida, you know, if we have to do East Coast, you know,
get a revenge game like freaking Boston versus the Panthers at like Fenway Park, you know, something nasty like Tkachuk. Get Tkachuk in there. We need more Tkachuk.
Right. Man, so Bedard is projected at number one pick, obviously, in the 2023 NHL draft. He won 3 CHL awards. The center is the first to be named top prospect, top scorer, and player of the year in the same season.
Oh, God, yes. Hell yes.
Now, I think a lot of the spotlight is on this kid, but do you think that there are other guys that can come out of this draft and become stars? I know Fantilli. I think that he can be. He seems to be. I think if it was in any other draft year, he'd be the number one draft pick.
Oh, sure, for sure. Yeah, we just came across a just generational guy. Got very lucky. You know, there's going to be guys that are like a Mo Sider in the draft. You know, they're going to surprise you.
Yeah.
You just don't have any idea who, unless, you know, they have a good camp and they just kind of make the jump right away. But I think Fantilli and Bedard are going to be the only NHL ready guys.
Okay.
Not sure. I think the Ducks have the second round pick, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. You know what, man? At this point, why not? take a chance. Have him play one with Zegras and the superstar Troy Terry. I think they're going to be a scary line. I do like Fantilli though. He had a great season. I think he won the Hobie Baker College Player of the Year, and or NCAA college guy. I think as a guy like Zegras though, who could get you the puck. He's obviously an assist man. Fantilli is a shooter. I think that works out great for the Ducks. So you know what? I'm not a fan of Zegras, but I think Fantilli will help his numbers, and I think Zegras will help Fantilli's numbers for sure. They'll complement each other very nice, I think.
Well, cool, man. Are there any storylines in hockey right now? Because we're heading for the final. I mean, we're in the finals in about a week. The week is going to be over.
Yeah.
Is like, what is like the next big thing as soon as the Stanley Cup Finals?
You got the draft. Obviously, we know who's picking first. It's us. So we know Bedard is going to be a Blackhawk, and it's going to be awesome. But usually it gets slow around this time. You see all the hockey writers and like the Jay Cons and the Boomers start going to their cottage and enjoying their time before the free agency frenzy. July 1st, like who's going where, and who do you think the top free agent is this year? Is it Patrick Kane with a bad hip? Because usually you hear like this guy's headed to free agency, he's not re-signing, and they make a big thing about it, but you haven't really heard anything.
Well, I would probably say that Ryan O'Reilly is up there.
Okay, yeah, Ryan O'Reilly and Tarasenko, right? I guess those would be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think Tarasenko can land up?
Man, if I were the Rangers, that's the guy I would want it. That's the guy I'm working hard to keep.
Right.
Because I think he likes playing with the bread man, and, he's a pure shooter, sniper.
Right.
They're hard to come across. A lot of guys like to pass first now. They get more assists, and he's more of a goal guy. Honestly, dude, I could see Ryan O'Reilly going back to St. Louis, maybe? Or, like a team that was desperate for a center was actually Colorado. I don't know if that ship sailed, because I think Sakic is the one that moved him, I want to say.
Right.
So it'd be kind of weird. But I don't know, man. I think Ryan O'Reilly, you could be right. He could be the top dog. I think Patrice Bergeron obviously is a free agent, but he's not going anywhere but Boston. I don't know. It's a tough call on that one.
Okay.
Toronto, it would be good, but they're not going to keep anybody. They can't afford anybody. Because I think they even got Jake McCabe for another year or two, don't they?
Yeah, I believe they do.
And then Lafferty for another year. So that's going to be the story, man. I think this summer, the Maple Leafs, which guy from the core is going to go.
Okay.
And personally, I think it should be Tavares, but I don't think anyone's going to touch that. Whatever it is, $12.9 million cap hit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So you watch, it's going to be Nylander or Mitch. That's my prediction. And I think Mitch should be the guy that should, as soon as someone calls me about Mitch Marner, I'm hanging up the phone and be like, yeah, right. This guy's untouchable. But fortunately, I think they're going to keep Matthews just because he's a 60 goal guy. Like Jay Kahn said, the goal scoring is more sexy, than the guy getting all the assists. And it's always been that way. And it's probably always going to be that way.
Right. Well, cool, everybody. That's all that we got for you for this podcast. It's kind of starting winding down a little bit. We'll catch you on the next one, and be sure to hit subscribe if you haven't hit subscribe yet. Do us a favor and follow us on Twitter at Chicago Tomahawk, and we'll talk some hockey because we love talking to people on Twitter. So get back to us, and we'll see you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.